Alright, in this video we're just going through how to connect random household appliances to the internet in your house so you can access them remotely and toggle their power with your phone or computer. In this case I just used this desk lamp, so we're going to go ahead and show you in this video how to do it with pretty much anything. So all I've done here is I've cut this extension cord. Doesn't matter which end you cut because we're just going to join them together to complete a circuit later on. So I'm going to go ahead and put one end in one piece of this relay here. Get my screwdriver head and tighten that down. And then I'll take my other end here, put it in this side. What's important is that these leads don't touch, so they're exposed now. And I'm going to have to do some cleanup here before I connect this to a power outlet so that they don't touch. But once I get them in here, I can get some insulating tape and make sure there's no way that those metal parts there touch each other. But there we go. So now I have this outlet connected to this relay. So go ahead and hook this up to our Raspberry Pi. Alright, so hopping over to the computer here, we will make a new file, a C file. We'll just call it main.c, and we will go ahead and open it with a code editor. So with any C file, we're going to go ahead and include the standard input-output library, and then we make our function called main. So just to make sure everything's working, let's go ahead and print something. Excellent. And then we'll come here and we will compile it. So no errors. If I run it, we get hello. I always do with warnings all as a parameter. That way I can see if there's any issues that weren't super important but could be important. So now that's working out. What we want to do is we want this pin to the relay to be able to be controlled by the Pi when we press a button. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the wiring Pi library to control that pin. So we either write a digital high or digital low. So wiring Pi, we'll go ahead and include that. Now you don't have to use wiring Pi, you can use whatever you want, but wiring Pi is an easy way to control the input-output pins. So whenever we use wiring Pi, we got to call this function called wiring Pi setup. And then we got to set the pin mode on pin 15 to an output. And then since we're going to use pin 15 a lot, I'm going to go ahead and define our relay as pin 15. So now the preprocessor will just stamp a 15 right here wherever it sees a relay whenever we put relay out, which is going to be useful because we're going to reuse this a lot. And then just to make sure everything's working, I'm going to go ahead and do digital write to relay, which is the same as saying to pin 15. And I'm going to write a high. And then I'm going to go ahead and, after I set it high, I want to set it to low. Now if I leave this alone, it's going to happen so fast, it's not going to look like it's changing. So I'm going to put a stall between here. So I'm going to put use sleep, which is how many microseconds it stalls. So 1 second is that. And I'm going to have to include this Unix standard library to use sleep. And then I'm going to go ahead and define a second as just 1,000,000 microseconds. So perfect. So now I come here. And just to help visualize what's going on here, relay is on. And then down here, oops, I'm going to go ahead and put relay is off. So now I will compile this, And because we use the YRatePy library, we have to link it. So relay is on, relay is off, blah, blah, blah. So you can see when this is on, the light is on, and when this is off, then this light is off and this big light is off. So cool, right? But we don't want it to just flicker on and off every second. We want to be able to control it. So we go ahead up here and put void control relay as a function, and I will put this in there for now. We'll clean it up in a bit. So control relay. So this on its own just kind of cleans it up. It won't, do anything useful. What we want is we want to be able to press a button, and we want to be able to, depending on if that button press is on or off, we want to turn the light on or off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a global variable, and don't freak out, we will change this to a not global variable later, but just for convenience, we're going to say if the button status is 0, turn the light off. If the button status is 1, turn the light on. So there we go. So now this is actually backwards, so no worries there, we can fix that. So I just inverted the thing we had before. Alright, perfect. So relay's off, relay's on, everything's good. Now this on its own is not doing anything useful, but we're going to make another function called get button status, and this is why we put in a global variable. And like I said, we'll change it later, but it's going to be global for now. And then I'm going to put an integer at button status there. So now whenever the person types, there's that. Now, if I just call get button status here, this function will get called, and then this while loop will run forever, and this function will never actually get called. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these inside of some threads so that they can run at the same time. So if I include pthread.h, and then I go ahead and I make pthread ID, I'm going to need 2 of them, and then pthread create, we're going to go ahead and send that pthread ID right there. This one is arguments null, and then we're going to reference the function. So this is going to be control relay, and then there's no arguments passed to this pthread. So when I come here, join thread, pthread join. So pthread join just prevents the main program from, after it creates this thread, it's going to want to go to the next line. This pthread join will stop it until this first pthread we created ends, and so this one will never end, so the program will actually never get past this. So what we need to do is put this get button status in another thread, and right here, there we go. So now we put the get button status in this other program. And so just so you can see that they're running at the same time, I'll put that there, and I'll comment this out. And so what's going to happen is it's going to call or launch a thread for this control relay function, and then it's going to launch a thread that gets the status. And we don't need to join this because it will never join the first pthread, but we're going to anyway just for, good behavior. Excellent. So that being said, if I compile this, I have to link the pthread library, and then I run it. I need to put a you sleep in here, otherwise that's what happens. There we go. There we go. So now you can see we're getting both output that says test and relay is on off here. So these two while loops that run forever are running at the same time. The light's still turning on off. Good. So that means if I scan this, or use the scanf function to get an integer at button status, and I can read button status in here, I can actually just say button status. So I can say status equals button status. So what I did is if button status is 1, we want to write a high. If it's not 1, it's 0, we write low. So I can actually make that even simpler and just put that in here, so I don't have to, allocate memory for that variable each time. So there we go. Digital write. Go ahead and clear this. Going to go ahead and compile this program, and then go ahead and run it. So button status is 0, the light turned on, so we're going to switch this logic. Perfect. So go ahead and run this. Button status is 0. If I type a 1, the light turns on. Type 1 again, the light stays on. If I type a 0, the light turns off. I can type a 1, light goes on. Type a 0, light goes off. So, pretty simple, right? Whenever you type on the command line 0, I can type a bunch of zeros, stays off. I type 1, and I can go, I'll turn on when I hit enter, and enter. So, there we go. We've connected this light to this Raspberry Pi command line. So we're going to stop this video here, and then the next one we'll kind of change it so that instead of having to type these buttons on the command line, you can just press a button on your phone or on the internet, and then you can turn this light on or off. So, all right.